Yet again, another video with no sound. I just got done talking for like 15 minutes and noticed that it's just one light on my microphone that if it's blinking means I was probably using it for a different application, or maybe my boy's playing a game on here. I don't know. So, yeah. Did you guys watch the Super Bowl? Um, it was blowout, right? I think Eagles scored 36 points before the Chiefs scored anything. Final score is interesting, 40-22. My brother was pointing out some things, and my mom used to do this with baseball games for World Series. She would tie um, spiritual meanings behind the like mascots and scores, like numbers, angel numbers versus what the mascot, why a mascot won. And if you think about this Super Bowl, my brother was like, "This is the most important Super Bowl ever," because he was like, and then I think he posted today, like, "We really dodged a bullet with that one yesterday, guys, because the Eagles won, the Chiefs didn't win, right? Freedom. Eagles are the symbolic animal of pure freedom, right? What would you? Eagles don't have any natural enemies. How could they? There isn't another bird in the sky that's bigger, more adept than especially a golden eagle. I've seen golden eagles and I've seen them fishing. It's pretty impressive, pretty cool. Watch them fly. I've seen them fly the streams of northern Idaho, and it's something. If you haven't seen something like that, it's one thing to go out in nature, but it's another to witness one of the largest birds of prey just flying around and doing its thing. And it is pure freedom and power in its ability to do that. And so, what would you do if you had that kind of freedom? You just probably just go fishing, right? It's on your time. Nobody else is going to tell you when to go fishing, or how, or what fish you even want to eat. But because you got it all, it's all. I mean, eagles have the best eyesight, right? I mean, I think there's a falcon that has better eyesight, right? Or maybe a hawk. But it's not like eagles' eyesight's bad, right? Owls have amazing eyesight too. Very wise machines. But I mean, so they just wait, right? If you look at a bird, it's either flying in freedom, or it's nesting, or it's fishing, hunting. Well, you know. So, and what creates that freedom? The freedom is created by non-attachment, fasting. 40. Eagles won by 40. In the Bible, uh, the number 40 is used and repeatedly in fasting 40 days and 40 nights. 3 people in the Bible fasted for 40 days, 40 nights. Elijah, Jesus, Moses. All 3 were at the Mount Transfixation on the Mount of Transmutation, or is it Ascendance? I can't remember the name of how it's referred in the Bible. And it's directly after Jesus heals the boy in Matthew of possession. And then the disciples couldn't do it. And he said, the only way to do this is through prayer and fasting. In other words, being so unattached and being able to, because you're detaching from this, the created reality enough to understand how much you're creating it. And if, so you're actually gaining more and more power of it by releasing attachment to it. Ultimate freedom is from ultimate detachment, because whether I feel like I need this daily, right? We do things because you want to do things because you enjoy them, right? You want to be around people because you enjoy their company. And if you're attached to how that person needs to act or not act, then your own fulfillment will go up and down depending on how that person acts or doesn't act. Very important lesson, right? Because that you want freedom of the soul. And if you don't have freedom of the soul and freedom of your life and how much you love people unconditionally, people say unconditional love. And it's really hard to describe what that is without describing the ability to detach from however somebody's acting. And somebody will always act, and it's very easy to see how someone is attached to an outcome or maybe how they're affecting you. Let's say if you just stood there, just for an example, if you just stood there and just ignored somebody's talking to you, blah, 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 and you just kind of, and if you were, for one thing, if you know for a fact that they're trying to get a reaction from you, in positive or negative, I mean, depending, everything is an interaction. I mean, it's always fun to interact in different ways. But, and I had to learn to do this growing up because my dad was the worst tease, man. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, maybe you guys had parents that used to tease and bother you, but mine was off the hook. I mean, it was like, I can't even describe it. So you have to detach, or drive you crazy. It will drive. I mean, somebody's who's intentionally trying to manipulate your emotional state will drive you absolutely crazy, right? I mean, boom. You have to be able to master yourself in a lot of different ways, and in ways that you'll be thankful for later, and you'll realize that it really was a blessing. It wasn't something that was bad. So I just watched a video, a 3-minute video by the Shaolin Monk guy. You guys probably seen him on YouTube. It always says Shaolin Monk, but it's the same guy all the time. And they asked him about a prophecy for the future, and I agree with him 100%. And because this is what he said. He said, "The universe will always be in a state of balance. It's always finding a state of balance." And what we're witnessing in our current environment is how AI and technology are continuing to isolate people and insulate them to where they're waking up. That process is happening at the same time that the technology is growing more advanced, to where if you're putting more time and energy into technology, it's forcing you to wake up more and more and more. It's always finding balance. And he said something very interesting at the end, which I also completely agree, that it's moving towards something where our ability to create what we're building in this world will be much more profound than ever before. Because, for one thing, if you're not, you're going to have to find balance between co-creation and technology. Because if everybody's isolated, trying to build something for themselves and sell that to each other, there's no way it can survive. It will fall apart, right? It's like all the cells in your body becoming separate, and then you just decompose and fall away. The only way to really move forward is to surrender yourself to the needs of the people around you. And sometimes that need might be, shut up, right? Stop trying to control my actions. Let's just make a decision on what we want to do together, right? Let's go on a hike. Hey, let's build something that enables us to build together, right? And use technology to do that. And then you'll actually limit the role of how technology will manipulate people to just put money into, just for pure materialism, right? There's nothing wrong with the material world, and there's nothing wrong with money in and of itself. But when you prioritize one over the other, it just leads to chaos, right? Because we are all the sons and daughters of God. I just like to say that because, you're a structure in a field. Actually, you're both. So it's hard to describe yourself as one or the other, right? Because you're masculine and feminine, whether you like it or not. There's a feminine aspect to every guy, and there's a masculine aspect to every woman. Every time you speak, it's your masculine aspect coming out. Every time you receive something, or somebody's speaking to you, and your ability to listen is describes how good your feminine aspect is working. It's how well you're able to listen and feel the perspective that somebody is speaking from, and how much they feel like they're a part of you, and they're not trying to lift themselves up or pull themselves down, understanding that all it is just you're just one consciousness speaking to itself in an infinite different amount of ways, and then all through levels of perspective, slowly pulling ourselves out of the beast mentality that sees everything out there as either you got to protect yourself or kill it, right? Or feed on it. I mean, from the perspective of an egg. So this is something that I have a conversation that I've had with my dad recently about eggs, because the price of eggs have gone up. And I said, well, it might be good for you to not eat eggs for a while. And eggs, they're like double or triple in price. I mean, they can still afford the eggs, but probably it'd be good just to, if there's something that you're eating daily or doing daily that you don't feel like you can live without, it has you in bondage, right? That's why fasting and the number 40 attached to the eagle is so amazing from the Super Bowl. Very interesting. So I'll let you guys, put in the comments, tell me what you guys think. Any kind of attachment will keep you from being able to co-create effectively. Because if you're trying to attach yourself to the way you want somebody to act around you or not act, then you can't accept wherever it is they are, and your ability to listen will be lowered, right? Because if you're having an adverse reaction within yourself, you won't be able to listen to what's going on in that other person. That's your ability to heal and ground out any kind of illusion of separation in that thing's environment. Let's get an oracle card, and then I'll call it a video. Actually, let's just do a full reading, right? What do we got going on? I got time. Why am I trying to rush? How long is this video going to be? How long are you guys going to watch that? Are you watching? Are you not watching? I don't know. Who's watching? I don't know. Who's not watching? No idea. Could be Ron from Kmart. Does Kmart even exist still? I don't know. Nine of Wands energy. Oh. Wounded warrior energy. What do we got going on here? Who am I talking to? Who are you? What are you guys going through? Wounded warrior. Oh boy. That came out fast. They're juggling stuff. These are juggling stuff. A little bit of wounded warrior energy, juggling a lot of different things. Maybe a lot of things in your mind. Have you worried? Magician energy. We're in creation mode. Juggling a lot of stuff. Looks like you guys are pretty creative right now. Just a lot of different things. Whoa. Emperor and the world. Coming to the end of a cycle and getting in your Emperor energy. That's not bad. That's pretty good. You know? Seen a lot of end of cycles readings lately, right? And that world card is so More on the world. What are we ending here? Entering a time of attachment? Yeah. Devil popped out. We're ending attachments. Or devil energies. Any kind of attachment to the outcome. That's, you know, devil could be confused with desire, but there's, you know, they're attached to something. It's an attachment to that makes you feel a certain way if you don't get that thing, right? Nicotine, coffee. If you have a coffee addiction, I encourage you to do your best to avoid coffee. I love coffee, but the feel like you need to have coffee every day is a terrible feeling. So it's hard to tell, especially as a reader, to tell if I'm creating the card that's coming out. Is there a difference? If we're all one, yeah, you guys are moving into 6 of Wands energy. This card came out last time, but there's a lot of heartache around you because there's, and maybe you're having to let some things go, right? Could be anything. Could be people. Could be habits. Right? Sometimes this is the best energy to be in without you realizing it. When your heart's hurting, it means that you're having to let go of things that you probably don't need or shouldn't have, for whatever reason. You know, you're letting go of attachments to your heart space that's causing your heart pain. You want to be able to love unconditionally without attachment, right? To any kind of outcome. And, you know, a lot of darkness here around emotional states, right? Moving through layers of illusion. More on this moon card. King of Swords. Speaking the truth. This reminds me of, did I make a video on that? The boat ride on Willy Wonka. If you guys watched that video where I had the boat ride on Willy Wonka. The truth is you just don't know what's around the corner. And why would you want to? Right? Do you want to know what's next? Wouldn't that spoil the fun? And so the truth is being able to let go of the fears involved and keep creating regardless of the outcome. That's the Candyman, right? That's Willy Wonka. He's guiding you to ground out your fears. This is enough, Mr. Wonka. Quite right, sir. Stop the boat. And then they're licking candy off the wall. With Queen of Cups energy, where you're, you know, emotional sensitivity, where if people are, you know, in their feelings, they're not feeling well, or you know, trying to do things to make themselves feel happy, if they, you know, because you're trying to reach for something that you know is, that, you know, if you're chronically unhappy or chronically depressed and you're always trying to reach for something to try and make you happy instead of the ability to just be, right? Feels like I'm telling a story. I don't know. How does it feel to you guys? Strength. Integrity and strength. Taming the lion. One more card on strength. What else do we got? I'm going to pick one. Tower. Two images that I got, both sides when the tower came out, is there are tower moments for pretty much everybody right now, right? You're coming into deeper awarenesses of self. Not only that, but people are having a wake-up call and they're being struck from high positions. This could be leaders of companies, too much focus on the external versus the internal, and there's no balance. Lots of things like that, right? You see companies, invariably, the larger the company, the more it's focused on the external, and we're seeing a breakdown of, there's people being struck by lightning right now, right? I made a post earlier today on LinkedIn talking about how, we haven't seen a business model where you have groups of people coming together where they can transmute any kind of negative energy, both within and outside of the group. And then basically enhancing their psychic abilities and their awareness to where the products and services that they're creating would be unmatched, right? You've never seen that before in this reality. Maybe 24,000 years ago, right? If you look at the cycle, but not in recorded history, where something that you could actively jump into and be healed and then create from that state of being. What would you be creating, right? Both externally and internally. You'd be creating things, even technology, to create freedom, like the eagle, not attachment. So you don't have to be forced to buy something from somebody else to do whatever it is you want, right? Somebody's trying to create, and this is just an example. Utilities are an example of a poor attachment that's lasted for way too long. We have the technology that's all underground. You guys, if you guys know, there's technology available where each of us could have a device about this big that could power our cars, our houses, everything, right? It's an unhealthy attachment for somebody to say, you need to come to me to get your electricity, especially when that stuff's available. That's an unhealthy attachment. That's like saying, you have to put money in my pocket or else you will not be, I will not feel good, right? I must have control over your power, or I don't feel like I'm in control. Simplest example of what happens is happening in our reality that's breaking down. Until we come together as a group and are able to transmute negative energies and become free on the inside, we won't create freedom for each other. End of statement. And that's happening right now. That tower moment is happening globally right now. So maybe that'll be the name of the video. So you have to watch the whole video just to get to the end. Let's get an oracle card. Celebration. That's a good one. Right? We can all celebrate knowing the truth, that we're all here to surrender to each other's needs. And then when the needs become almost nothing, right? Because when you're surrendering to somebody's needs who is completely unattached and doesn't need anything else to make them happy, all you're doing is partnering with them to do the same thing for other people until everybody gets elevated to that state, and then party time, right? That's party time. Love you guys. Have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you on the next one.